was going to say.
Very similar.
Right.
But those two powers out of the bottomless pit, God would pit against each other.
Exactly.
And in doing so, he put a check on the one that plays the major role in this history,
Which is the papacy.
Okay?
Okay.
And your question?
Revelation 9, isn't that Revelation 9?
9/11.
Revelation 9, verse 11, yes. But
Yeah.
Revelation 9 is
Islam.
Islam, that's
Right.
correct.
That's no
And,
coincidence either.
wait now.
9/11, amen.
Wait now. Revelation 9 is the 5th and 6th trumpet, the
Right.
1st and 2nd woe.
I didn't know that.
But Revelation 11, verses 14 through 15, are the sounding of the 7th trumpet and the 3rd woe.
Okay.
So, ipso facto, if the 5th trumpet, 1st woe, 6th trumpet, 2nd woe is Islam, under the 9th chapter of the book of Revelation, and in Revelation chapter 10, where we have the interlude of the 7th thunders, the story of the rise of the Millerite time period,
Right.
and in chapter 11 then we have the introduction of the 3rd woe under the 7th trumpet. We might ask ourselves a question, if we understand the history of the Millerites adequately, is not the 3rd woe and the sounding of the 7th trumpet also pointing to Islam as its role under the 7th trumpet, 3rd woe?
Right.
And that's a very, we learned earlier today that God has made it very plain and very simple. You don't have to have a theological 8-year degree, a master's degree, or a doctorate in theology to understand these things. It's very clear. The Bible are using very clear symbols to tell us these events. And so, basically, then we've looked at...
Okay.
Yeah.
The papacy, I'm sorry, the Roman...
Romans in the east at Constantinople?
No, wait. I'm trying to get this into perspective and I'm having a hard time. The papal Rome
Yes.
came into the land around 538.
Yes, in 538 it came to power.
So what you're saying that what came into power while they're in power was the Islamic
Right,
power.
right.
One stealing from God to declare himself God, and the other one
Doing the same thing.
stealing to declare self as God.
Well, they're both doing
Both
that.
them
They're both doing the same thing.
Yeah, both
Okay.
That's why they're both coming out of the bottomless pit.
Okay.
It's the worship of man. Men are worshipped in the place of God.
And therefore, but then the Islam has broken the covenant.
That's
with
correct.
God.
Okay,
That's right.
yes.
That's
Both
right.
of
But
them
God,
are
but
broken.
nevertheless, God is God, and He's the marshaling of the nations. He's the one that sets up whom He will and puts down whom He
Right
will.
now.
And He has chosen to use a power from the bottomless pit to check another power from the same place.
Got it.
It's checkmate. God's on the chessboard, and He knows the rules.
Okay.
All right, and He's the one that's placed a checkmate on the papacy by using Islam, and He's also placed the same checkmate at the end of the world by using Islam.
Can I ask you
Okay,
this?
so then it makes sense. Okay.
Can I ask you this? You were talking about so many people being killed. At 391? No.
No, for 300
391 years,
and
15 days.
And so many million of people were killed, or
I didn't mention that, but there were a lot of people killed in that time period. It's for almost 4 centuries.
okay.
All right, and so the Turks were pretty bloodthirsty.
Right.
I don't know how many
They
millions were
slaughtered
killed.
the Armenian
but
nation, remember?
They slaughtered
No, I don't
thousands,
know
Oh, yeah.
that.
Okay.
thousands and millions. You'd have to become familiar with that history of the Ottoman
That's why.
Empire. I mean,
Go ahead. But that's a lot of people.
oh yes, it's garments rolled in blood. This history is describing garments rolled in blood.
That is what, now I begin to understand why on the Middle East, see, I never understood why they had such turmoil as well.
Well, it's all a process of the Roman papacy.
this.
Of this, that's
Okay.
correct.
Right.
How many were killed with the Islam and papacy put together?
Notice he says here
Only
that
God knows.
the spirit and fraud of and enthusiasm whose abode is not in the heavens, was let loose on earth. The bottomless pit needed but a key to open it, and that key was the fall of Khosroes.
Yes.
He had contemptuously torn the letter of an obscure citizen of Mecca, but when from his blaze of glory he sunk into the tower of darkness which no eye could penetrate, the name of Khosroes was suddenly to pass into oblivion before that of Muhammad, and the crescent seen but to wait its rising till the falling of the star. Khosroes, that's a period, Khosroes, after his entire discomfiture and loss of empire, was murdered in the year 628, and the year 629 is marked by the conquest of Arabia and the first war of the Mohammedans against the Roman Empire. So in 629 we see the immediate results of the turning of this key. At the death of Khosroes and the loss of his kingdom, the year following, Muhammad and his Saracens attack the empire of the papacy in the west. Note that. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. It was given to him, and he opened the bottomless pit. He fell unto the earth. When the strength of the Roman Empire was exhausted, and the great king of the east lay dead in the tower of darkness, the pillage of an obscure town on the borders of Syria was the prelude of a mighty revolution. The robbers were the apostles of Muhammad, and their fanatic valor emerged from the desert. A more succinct, rather yet ample commentary may be given in the words of another historian. While Khosroes of Persia was pursuing his dreams of recovering and enlarging the empire of Cyrus the Great, and Hercules was gallantly defending the empire of the Caesars against him, while idolatry and metaphysics were diffusing their baleful influence through the Church of Christ, and the simplicity and purity of the gospel were nearly lost beneath the mythology which occupied the place of that ancient ancient Greece and Rome. The seeds of a new empire and of a new religion were sown in the inaccessible deserts of Arabia. The first woe arose at a time when transgressors had come to the full, when men had changed the ordinances and broken the everlasting covenant, when idolatry prevailed, or when titular saints were honored, and when the mutual destruction of the Roman and Persian empires prepared the way for the fanatic robbers, or opened the bottomless pit from whence an imposture which manifests its origin from the father of lies spread over the greater part of the earth. Now this particular history is not well received by Islam today. But nevertheless, these historians mark that this was the evidence recorded in history of the rise of the Mohammedan power under the fifth trumpet, under the first woe. And there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit, like the noxious and even deadly vapor which the winds, particularly from the southwest, diffuse in Arabia. Mohammedanism spread from thence its pestilential influence, and arose as suddenly and spread as widely as smoke arising out of the pit, the smoke of a great furnace. Such is a suitable symbol of the religion of Muhammad, of itself, or as compared with the pure light of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It was not like the latter a light from heaven, but a smoke out of the bottomless pit. Muhammad alike instructed to preach and to fight, and the union of these opposite qualities, while it enhances his merit, contributed to his success. The operation of force and persuasion of enthusiasm and fear continually acted on each other, till every barrier yielded to their irrepressible power. The first caliphs ascended the pulpit to persuade and edify the congregation. He goes on to describe some things. We won't read all this, but I want to get finally to where we're going here. Verse 5 now of Revelation 9. And let's read Revelation 9 real quick, from verses 1 to 5, and you can see now the relevancy of reading some of the history of the past describing the rise and the fall of these powers. We can see more brevity now when we read the scriptures in regard to this history. In Revelation chapter 9, verses 1 through 5, this is what it says. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. This is Muhammad, because of the battle between Khosroes and Hercules, the emperor in the east, and the caliph in Baghdad. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God on their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. So that's verses 1 through 5. And what this does, it leads us down to an understanding of the 5 months. Now, a day for a year in Bible prophecy.
Is a year.
5 months times 30 is how many days?
150.
Okay, so now we know that 5 months is equal to 150 days.
150 years.
And so this is equal to 150 years,
Amen.
right?
Yes.
So we know now there's a point in this history where we're going to see a 150-year period where this power that rises out of the bottomless pit is going to be allowed to hurt the Roman Empire for 150 years. Now, here's where I want to go to another book. Now this is Uriah Smith.
Oh, okay. There we go.
You find this.
Dwayne, can I mention something?
Yes.
I remember reading Uriah Smith, he said the bottomless pit. And remember he saw smoke coming out in a locust. This is the bottomless pit here refers to the barren desert of the Arabian desert.
Right.
So the Mohammedan, the locust,
Right.
his army.
Now, this here is an explanation of these prophetic events by Uriah Smith. Notice here now, I want you to catch this. There's been a question I got in my email from a couple of the brethren. I don't remember exactly how many people were involved in this, but Jeff was one of the people. And they were looking for, Parminder in England, they were looking for some solid evidences as to the dates of 1449 for the beginning of this sixth trumpet, second woe. Well, I found an account of this recorded in Uriah Smith's book. This is called Thoughts on the Revelation. This is not his Daniel in Revelation that everybody's familiar with, but this is actually the 1881 version of his book, Thoughts on Revelation. Later on, the denomination took thoughts on Daniel and thoughts on Revelation and put them into one book, along with the approval of Uriah Smith. But the first time that they would print and publish this stuff by Uriah Smith, the two books were in two separate volumes, and this is the Thoughts on Revelation, 1881. He says, this is concerning let me find this here. You'll read later on in the 9th chapter of the book of Revelation about the name in Hebrew of this king that would be over the Mohammedans, and his name was Abaddon, the destroyer in Greek, and Apollyon, one that exterminates or destroys, having two different names in two languages. It is evident that the character rather than the name of the power is intended to be represented. If so, in both languages, he is a destroyer. this power is a destroyer, this king that would eventually